Hey there writers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Emma and I write contemporary romance, and today I thought I would kind of take you along, chat with you a bit about how I'm going about writing my latest contemporary romance. So for a little bit of background, I have written quite a few romances before. You would think that I knew what I was doing, and I do a little bit, but this has also gone a bit awry, as I will explain later, and I'm actually doing things a little bit differently with this book. So this is, I'm wanting to say, like the 18th or 19th book that I've written, most of them romances. I have written some children's picture books as well and some non-fiction books for writers, but yeah, like 12 romances maybe. I think ones that are published and ones that are waiting to be published. Anyway, like I've written quite a lot. And one thing that I have for every single one of my books is a notepad. I don't write the whole book out by hand or anything like that, but certain scenes I will write out by hand, especially if they're quite kind of emotional scenes and I really need to think about what the characters are doing and they're saying. I also use my notebook for character descriptions so that I don't forget things like their surname, their age, colour of their eyes. I'll put maps in the back of it. So if the story is set in a small town or village, I might do a map of that. I'll normally do like a floor plan of where the characters live so that I know if they step out of the kitchen whether they're going to be in the hallway or the kitchen, things like that. And most importantly, I put a date line in there so that I know exactly when things are happening and that they fit in with everything. So that is just something that I have with every single one of my books, and that is the same with this book. Now, this book is going to be a Christmas book set in Italy. I've written a couple of Christmas stories before, three actually. One of them is a novella set at Christmas. It's not extremely Christmassy, it's actually the sequel to a book, The One That Got Away. And yeah, so that's not really Christmassy, but my two novels that are Christmas books, they're called A Christmas Truce and A Scottish Christmas, and they are super Christmassy, and so is this one. The Christmas books people seem to really like, and so my publisher basically said to me, like, if you have any ideas for Christmas books, like, go for it. People love your Christmas books. So that's where we're going here. And also I was in Italy last year for a friend's wedding, which was just amazing, and I've been learning Italian for over a year now, so I am in quite an Italy place, so it seemed an obvious place for me to set this book. Most of my books are set in the UK, so it's definitely fun to kind of step out of that comfort zone a bit and set it somewhere else. My heroine is from Bristol in the story, and my hero is Italian, so that's just going to be lots and lots of fun. Anyway, so I spent last month, amongst other things, plotting this book out a little bit, you know, planning it, and also doing a bit of research, although there is some research that I will do while writing it. And then this month and next month, I'm going to be writing the book. My aim is to write about 1,000 words a day so that I'll have a 60,000 word first draft by the end of the 2 months. I'm actually a little bit ahead at the moment with my word count, and that is because it is my 21st wedding anniversary in a couple of days, and I want to make sure that I can take at least that day off and not be thinking about writing at all. Now, kind of the reasoning behind me setting this timeline is because I was reading the 12-week year for writers, which is all about how you can take 12 weeks and set yourself goals through them And basically the idea is that you end up doing as much as you would in a year, which I don't think is really the case, but it's just a very good way to set kind of attainable goals, to keep yourself accountable. And the 12 weeks isn't such a big time period that things can kind of get completely out of control, and you can go veering off course with what your goals are, I believe is the idea. And I thought that a month is normally what I would spend kind of planning to write a book. For NaNoWriMo the last few years, I have written a first draft in a month, but that is just, it's so intense. It really, really is. It's exhausting. So I thought, let's chill things out a bit. Let's do it over 2 months, 1,000 words a day. That's very achievable. So that's where that comes from. And yeah, so I'll also be using Romancing the Beat, which I probably reread before or as I'm writing every single one of my romances, and I have for quite a while now. It's a very little book, but it explains story structure for romance novels. It explains those ups and downs that a relationship needs to have for your readers to find it believable and to keep them captivated. So I find it really useful just to quickly read through it to kind of reacquaint myself, and then when I'm writing, hopefully that's kind of all in there and coming out on the page. The other thing that I am kind of bearing in mind while writing this particular book is some of the tips from the bestseller code, which I just finished reading. This is, well, the subtitle is Anatomy of a Blockbuster Novel. So these two professors took so many books, including a load of New York Times bestsellers, and they got a computer algorithm to analyze them and to basically try to work out what it is that leads to a book becoming a blockbuster, what it is that makes readers not want to put down a book and to tell their friends about it, and yeah, for a book to sell millions and millions of copies. And there were a couple of tips which I probably already knew, but again, it's good to have it like at the forefront of your mind when you're writing a book. One of them is that your hero or heroine, the verbs that you use to describe them, should be kind of strong verbs where possible. You don't want them kind of not in charge of their own destiny. You want to be using verbs like told, ran, decided, not things like contemplated, debated. Yeah, you kind of want them to be a character that people want to be like, I guess, is probably the best way I read that as. But yeah, essentially, like all of the blockbuster books, they used more of these sort of powerful verbs where you've got your hero and heroine actually kind of doing things as opposed to things being done to them. So I thought that that was very interesting, and also about the importance of having a strong heroine that readers can connect to, which I hope that I always have, as obviously in a romance the hero and heroine are really, really important. So getting on to the changes that I'm making while writing this book and why. So basically, I was a little bit overexcited, I think, to be writing this book. And so when I was doing my my planning in my notebook, it's very scattered. So I'd have an idea for a scene and I'd stick it here, and then an idea for a theme that can work its way through, and I'd put it here, and then my son asked if I would add a guinea pig in, so I need to do that. Do not the things we do for our kids. And yes, it's kind of all over the place. I've started writing it, like I say, and that's fine, but I'm not going to be able to get to the end of writing this book without taking a step back to a certain extent and plotting it more fully and working out exactly how much I want going on in the background. So with a romance, obviously, the couple are the important part of the story and their love story. And because my books are quite traditional romances, it is it's that love story which is not only at the very, very core of the book, but is the story. There aren't a lot of subplots of other characters with character arcs or anything like that. I've got other characters around them. Those characters are there to make a world, if you like, as sounding boards for my hero and heroine, and also to show off aspects of my hero and heroine's character. Basically, to make the world real. They do not have their own character arcs, they do not have their own subplots or anything like that. So I do have to be very careful how many I have and how deeply I go into them because of the type of book that I write. And I think I was adding too many fun Italian people is one of the problems that I had. So what I've decided to try is using some record cards. I went to my local shop earlier today and I bought this pack of, like, I call them revision cards actually, but it says record cards on there, same difference. And this afternoon, when I finish filming this, I am going to basically write out a scene, like what's going to happen in each scene, on one of these cards and get them in order, see what I need to kind of mix up, make sure that I've got a plot that flows well, that I've got enough plot, that I don't have too much plot, that it doesn't go off in too many tangents, and so that I can see it all together, kind of like a river flowing down to the sea, which is the happy ever after, if you will. This is something that I haven't tried doing before, and I know though that it works for a lot of writers. I've seen writers with like lots of different colors of these, and they'll have a different color for each of their characters and things like that, so that you can see each of the characters' arcs easily. I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm just using them as like scene cards, because I attempted to start doing it in my notebook and it ended up a complete mess. Whereas if I've got them on here, if I decide that I want to move scene 20 to earlier on in the book and make it scene 12, it's easy to do because they're just little cards. So we will see how that goes. Yeah, so at the moment I believe I'm at about 8,500 words, which I'm really pleased with. I don't know whether I'll do exactly 1,000 words or round about 1,000 words like every day that I'm writing during the next couple of months. That is the aim. Maybe some days I would do less, like on my wedding anniversary. And yeah, fingers crossed. It's a little bit of a mess at the moment, but I'm hoping that I've caught it early enough that I can sort it out easily and that it won't kind of get bigger and bigger and become a huge mess and we'll need to do big rewrites and stuff like that. So there we go. That is how I am going about writing this particular romance novel. If you have any suggestions for things that might make my life easier, I would love to hear them. I would also love to know what you are writing and how you go about doing it. Do you do everything on a laptop? Do you even use your phone? I wrote a book on my phone once a couple of years ago. It was only a little non-fiction book though, but that was a lot of fun. Yeah, do you use notebooks? How much do you write a day? Basically, I would just love to hear what you guys are up to. If you've enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up. It does make a big difference to my channel, and subscribe if you're not already, because we have a lot of fun here, and I will catch you in the next one.